Hello, everyone. Deacon Ed McCormick here once again as we continue to celebrate the power and new life of Easter. When I was a young boy, I remember visiting homes with my parents, going to their friend's house all the time. And I was always amazed as I would visit these homes, how different each house seemed to feel. And this was even true as I attended birthday parties or visited my friend's house. Some homes were welcoming and loving. Some homes seemed to be kind of quiet and empty. I remember some homes that felt kind of weird. There was a feeling of kind of fear or bitterness in the place. And there were other homes filled with deep divisions where some people didn't talk to each other. Now, I'm reminded of this experience because last week, Jesus invited us to live from his Father's house. And that house, the Father's house, is in fact our Christian community. Whether we're gathered here or whether we are out and about and connected through social media. This Christian community is a community that lives from the abundant life of the risen Jesus. In fact, I called the Christian community last week, I called it the house of abundance. And in that house, people's hearts and minds are healed, we're forgiven, we're filled with peace and the power of God's Spirit. Now, as we live through COVID-19, people are wondering, is there a better way to relate to each other? Can we learn from this crisis? Our default mode is to live from fear and suspicion, hurt, and hate. We have seen how we have built political and economic systems that thrive on power and the accumulation of wealth rather than serving the common good. And we've certainly seen how broken our healthcare system is. But I think that we have a chance to come out of this pandemic and choose to create a different kind of world. We have a chance to live from the love of Christ rather than greed and power. We have a chance to create new economic and political systems that care for the poor and the common good and connect us to the rest of the planet in life-giving ways. This, I think, is the message of today's gospel. And this new kind of life, it will only begin if Christians around the world choose to live from Christ's abundant life. So let's turn to today's gospel. I want you to listen to it as I read it. And I want you to see if you can hear the beating heart that pumps life into the house of abundance that is this Christian community. I want you to listen and see if you can discover that heart that beats underneath every Christian community. This reading is from chapter 14 of John's Gospel. Jesus said to his disciples, "And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you always, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot accept because it neither sees nor knows him. But you know him, because he remains with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans. I will come to you. In a little while the world will no longer see me, but you will see me, because I live and you will live. On that day, you will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I in you. Whoever has my commandments and observes them is the one who loves me, and whoever loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and reveal myself to him. Now that's one intense reading, but we're able to hear what is at the heart of our Christian communities. We're able to hear what's the beating heart at work in the house of abundance that is the Christian life. It's one word, my friends: relationships. The Christian life is about relationships. Did you hear the relationship Jesus has with the Father and the Father has with Jesus? Listen as you can hear the relationship the Spirit has with the Father and Jesus has with us and we have with him. To be a Christian is to be in relationship. Now, there is one fundamental relationship that marks out the Christian life. In fact, it is the relationship. That is the relationship that Jesus has with the Father and the Father has with him. That is the relationship. Now, every good friendship, every good relationship is an experience of giving and receiving. We all know that. But in the relationship between Jesus and the Father, there is something new that we are being shown. This something new is a giving and a receiving that is so intimate, that is built on inexhaustible love that is being exchanged, that this love and life overflows into new life and truth and peace and justice. The relationship at the heart of the Christian life is this overflowing exchange of love that is Jesus and the Father. And my friends, this relationship is at the heart of all that exists. It's at the very heart of all of creation. It is, in effect, an all-encompassing field of love out of which the entire cosmos constantly comes. No wonder our scientists are discovering that all of creation is relational, from the microscopic level to the cosmic level. This is why our universe has evolved towards consciousness and personhood, because our God is sheer personhood and a consciousness of love. This is the relationship that we are called to live from. And every one of you who has a life-giving relationship in your life, that's just a taste, a small taste of the dynamic, mutual relationship of love that is Jesus and the Father. You know, during Mass, when it's hot out and the AC comes on, I am finding myself kneeling by the altar. And sometimes as I'm kneeling by the altar during the Eucharistic prayer and the AC comes on, I can feel the floor shake because the motor underneath here kicks on. And there's a sense in which there's this movement. And for me, it's this sense that underneath every Christian community is this relationship between Jesus and the Father and the Spirit, pumping new life into us and into every Christian community. And here's the good news, my friends. The good news is that we get to participate in the relationship Jesus has with the Father. This abundant, excessive, overflowing relationship of love we get to share in because God sends the Spirit into this community and into your lives, the Spirit of truth and justice and peace. And what the Spirit does is it connects us to Jesus, to his abundant life, to the life he shares with the Father. It connects us with him so that he is with us and in us, loving us and revealing himself to us. This is the life that Christ wants for us. Now, it's easy to live from frustration and fear, resentment and greed. It will be easy to return to our old broken economic and political systems. But my friends, as we come out of this COVID-19, we have a chance to live a new way of life. We have a chance to relate to each other, to the planet, especially to the sick and the poor in new ways. Let us live from the relationship and become the house of abundance. Let us live from the abundant love that is the risen Jesus and the Father. We will become people of generosity and justice and peace. We could create new political and economic systems that promote the common good and not just the good for a few. A new future is possible if we choose to live from the abundant life that is Jesus and the Father. My friends, let us choose this future God offers us. Let us become that kind of worldwide church.